August 26th, 2017, 8 o'clock p.m. I'll never forget that night. That night was the night I lost everything that meant anything to me at all. I can vividly remember the fireman who knocked on our door that night, saying that the floodwaters were rising quickly and that he was there to save us. He said there wasn't much time left and that we needed to board the safety boats as quick as possible. In a panic, my family and I packed the bare minimum with full expectation of returning home in a few days. Little did I know that once we stepped foot in the boat, our lives would change forever. As the fireman promised, the water was very high. Not only was the water high, but there was a dangerous current in the water that made the trip even more frightening than it already was. Floating past things I once loved now seemed unfamiliar to me. People that I had close connections with were already mourning the loss of their homes. It all seemed too unreal to me. My worst nightmare had just come to life. My mind phased out, and just for a second, the world stopped spinning. The emergency lights in the distance flashed their bold colors of red and blue, and the rain fell like bullets. Every raindrop that hit my face whispered to me that life as I knew it was over. Tears began to flow down my face because never in a million years did I expect to leave the one place I loved behind. 11 o'clock p.m. that same night, it was confirmed. Our home had flooded. Our home was gone. Everything was gone. I no longer had the luxuries I once took advantage of before. I didn't even have my own bed anymore. Unfortunately, soon after Harvey, school started and I had nothing for the new school year. There I was, first day of sophomore year with nothing but a couple pencils in my backpack and a schedule sheet in hand. It read, Avid, third period. Normally, I would have been happy to see Avid in my schedule. My freshman year, I had taken Avid, and I adored every aspect of the program. But this year, I simply felt that Avid just wasn't for me anymore. I wanted to quit. The day that they started accepting schedule changes, I was the first in the office. That day, I requested to get out of Avid. Immediately, I felt a wave of guilt, but I pushed the feeling to the side. I wasn't good enough anymore. That same day, I sulked into the classroom, only to find on the board that we had a Socratic seminar. The board read, Topic, what can we do to improve Avid in the new school year? One by one, ideas started flooding out, and I heard laughter. I saw the sparkle in my teacher's eyes, and I felt comfort, something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt like I was finally home. That was all it took for me to realize my mistake. Avid was my home, and these students that surrounded me were my family. After class, I withdrew my schedule application. I didn't need to leave. I didn't want to leave. I remember how I felt when I lost my home. I hated myself day after day. I was insecure and embarrassed. I was ashamed that I had nothing. I felt bad because I felt like I no longer belonged in a classroom with students that had promising futures. After the hurricane, I thought I would never be able to get to college. Every drop of money was now going to rebuild our home, and I believed that I would never amount to anything. But luckily enough, I had an Avid teacher that loved me more than he loved himself, and he told me I had a future. He told me that I could go to college. He told me I mattered. He told me that I could be anything I wanted to be. When I told him I couldn't, he told me I could. The only reason I believed these things was because my Avid teacher told me so. He told me these things when no one else would. When I was struggling in my own storm, Coach Nelson was my rock. Coach Nelson, could you please stand? He taught me everything, from how to take a proper Cornell note, to teaching me how to simply love myself. Because of him, I'm a great student. I am great because one man believed in me. Today, I go above and beyond because I have a strong support system. With special thanks to my current AVID teacher, Miss Natasha Simmons, would you please stand? I am now secure and ready for my last year of AVID. So let me say, as a changed student, the AVID program is real and it works. Taking the step to become a stronger AVID student has changed me as a person, emotionally, mentally, and of course, academically. That night on the rescue boats, I kept asking myself, why me? Why me? Now I ask myself, why not me? When at one time believing in myself seemed pointless, now I feel like I can do anything. My story is just one in a million. So when you go back to your schools this fall, remember me. Remember my story. Remember that when your students step into your classroom for the very first time, you become a part of them. They become a part of you. Remember that each student has a story to tell. Will you be a part of their story? Will you help them through chapters that they cannot conquer alone? To teachers everywhere, you are the reason we are limitless. You see, I let the raindrops tell me that my life was over, but AVID told me that my life was just beginning. AVID has taught me that strength lives inside of me. AVID has made me believe that if I keep going, I will eventually reach my goals. AVID has allowed me to accept challenges and live my life to the fullest. That way, in the end, I regret nothing. AVID has convinced me that no one or no thing will stop me from going higher and reaching for what I am willing to work for. I refuse to be average. I choose to be extraordinary. I will simply keep going because the opportunities are limitless. I will continue to put one foot in front of the other, and I won't look back. AVID has helped me to find my voice, and because of AVID, my voice will be heard. Thank you.